So I'm here just briefly with my daily analysis today, and I'm going to start off with COVID-19. There's going to be some people joining in. If you can hear the replay, that would be great. But here we are. So on the global frontier, we are at 38,833,032 cases of COVID-19 across the world. Our death toll here is almost at 1.1 million, so it's 1,097,228. The cases here at home, we are almost at 8,000. We'll probably be at 8,000 tomorrow. We just had like a over 60,000 surge in our cases. So we're at 7,977,097. Our death toll here is at 217,754. Other places like India has 7.3, Brazil has 5.1, Russia has 1.3, and there's Argentina and Spain. They're in like the 900s. They're almost in the million tier. And South Africa rounds up that top 10 with almost 700,000. We have Panama at 122,000, DR at 120,000, Guatemala at 97,000, Nigeria at 60,000, Ghana at 47,000, and Kenya at 43,000. And the West Indies numbers are picking up. Haiti numbers are picking up at almost 9,000. Jamaica's numbers are picking up at almost 8,000. Bahamas is picking up almost at 5,000. So there is a lot. In terms of the states, we have California at 870,147, Texas at 152,763, Florida at 774,980, New York at 484,135. We have Illinois at 336,058, Georgia at 321,400, North Carolina at 239,388, Arizona at 228,748, New Jersey at 218,783, and New Jersey rounds out that top 10, but we have Tennessee at 219,355. And like I said, there was 60,000 new cases here in the United States of daily infections of COVID-19. 40 states are seeing increasing numbers, such as DC as well. And the virus is spreading in rural communities. And of course, we have no national plan. Like, we have none. There's no relief. There's relief discussions, but there's no relief. Like, there's none. There's nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. Ain't shit. So, that's that. Now, if you watch tonight's town hall, I could play some clips. Of course, I watched the Biden town hall. I flipped my channel when it was commercial to watch a snippet of Stupid. You know who Stupid is. And he didn't really have anything substance to say, which I'm not surprised. But mostly, I focused on the Biden town hall, which was very fulfilling. And he reassured me why he is the nominee, the Democratic nominee, and with the vice presidential nominee Kamala Harris. So here's some clips of it.
Campaign that has been upended by the pandemic. Joe Biden having an opportunity to interact directly with voters.
See, that's not the clip that I was looking for. I don't want to hear the commentators. I want to see the damn clips. So here we are.
I'm good, thank you. I'm the proud mom of two girls, 8 and 10. My youngest daughter is transgender. The Trump administration has attacked the rights of transgender people, banning them from military service, weakening non-discrimination protections, and even removing the word transgender from some government websites. How will you, as president, reverse this dangerous and discriminatory agenda and ensure that the lives and rights of LGBTQ people are protected under U.S. law?
Oh, flat out just change the law. Eliminate those executive orders, number one. You may recall, I'm the guy who said, I was raised by a man who, I remember I was being dropped off. My dad was a high school educated, well-read man who was a really decent guy, and I was being dropped off to get an application in the center of our city, Wilmington, Delaware, the corporate capital of the world at the time. And these two men, I'm getting out to get an application to be a lifeguard in the African American community because there was a big swimming pool complex. And these two men, well-dressed, leaned up and hugged one another and kissed one another. I'm getting out of the car at the light, and I turned to my dad. My dad looked at me and said, Joey, it's simple. They love each other. The idea that an 8-year-old child or a 10-year-old child decides, I decided I want to be transgender. That's what I think I'd like to be. It'll make my life a lot easier. There should be zero discrimination. And what's happening is too many transgender women of color are being murdered. They're being murdered. I mean, I think it's up to now 17. Don't hold me to that number, but it's higher now. Yeah. And this is here. And so I promise you, there is no reason to suggest that there should be any right denied your daughter or daughters, whichever, one or two, your daughter, that your other daughter has a right to be and do. None. Zero. And by the way, my son Bo passed away, was the Attorney General of the state of Delaware. He was the guy who got the first transgender law passed in the state of Delaware, and because of a young man who became a woman who worked for him in the Attorney General's office.
We've got one more segment coming up.
Now, Joe Biden was one of the first major politicians back in the Obama administration to support marriage equality. So that's one of them. Also, getting back to the transgender question, it was the same Donald Trump, when his administration came in, had rolled back on some protections for the LGBTQ community. One was in the Affordable Care Act to protect them, basically to call them by have them identify them as for their birth gender instead of their transgender, not acknowledging that they're transgender. Under, I think, Title 7 or Title 9, I forgot which one it is, or article, I keep forgetting because it's one of them. Also, banning them for serving in the military. That was another one. Removing the names transgender off the civil rights website on the White House government, on the government websites. Because he done some of that, especially on the White House website. So this administration, again, has done things to roll back progress that the previous administration has done before. So this is one of the reasons why this election is consequential. Now, I have another clip. Well, this clip here is going to be from Trump's disastrous town hall, which his town hall, from mostly what I heard, was very disastrous, and it was combative. He was very combative with the moderator, and he looked like he probably could have gave her COVID. So here we are.
Your 87 million followers, a conspiracy theory that Joe Biden orchestrated to have SEAL Team 6, the Navy SEAL Team 6, killed to cover up the fake death of bin Laden. Now, why would you send a lie like that to your followers? You retweeted
That was a retweet. That was an opinion of somebody, and that was a retweet. I'll put it out there. People can decide for themselves.
You're the president. You're not like someone's crazy uncle who can just retweet whatever.
That was a retweet, and I do a lot of retweets. And frankly, because the media is so fake and so corrupt, if I didn't have social media, I don't call it Twitter, I call it social media, I wouldn't be able to get the word out. And the word is, and you know what the word is? The word is very simple. We're building our country stronger and better than it's ever been before.
Let's talk.
Okay, so we all know this man is a liar. If you don't know by now, I don't know what rock he was living under. He was asked about a conspiracy theory that he retweeted, because he keeps retweeting these conspiracy theorists and he's racist. And he was like, it was a retweet. People can decide for themselves. People are deciding from themselves right now. That's one thing he's right about. An election is going on. And you know what? Democrat turnout for early elections is actually higher than Republicans. Literally. So Donald Trump is doing a disservice. He's ruining things for himself. But me, as a person that never supported him, go ahead, knock yourself out, ruin things for yourself. Now, he said something about COVID. I'm trying to find that because he refuses to. Oh, there's another clip before I get to the COVID. He denounces QAnon. Here we go.
Theory that Democrats are a satanic pedophile ring and that you are the savior of that. Now, can you just once and for all state that that is completely not true?
So,
and disavow QAnon in its entirety?
I know nothing about QAnon.
I just told
I
you.
know very little. You told me, but what you tell me doesn't necessarily make it fact. I hate to say that. I know nothing about it. I do know they are very much against pedophilia. They fight it very hard, but I know nothing about it.
They believe it is
If
a
you'd like
satanic
me to
cult run by the deep
study the
state.
subject, I'll tell you what I do know about. I know about Antifa, and I know about the radical left, and I know how violent they are and how vicious they are, and I know how they're burning down cities run by Democrats, not run by
Republican
Republicans.
Senator Ben Sasse said, quote, QAnon is nuts, and real leaders call conspiracy theories conspiracy theories.
He may be
Why not
right.
just say it's
Can I be
crazy
honest?
and not true?
He may be right. I just don't know about QAnon.
You do know.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Let me ask you
all
another
about
thing.
it. Let's waste the whole show. You start off with white supremacy. I denounce it. You start off with something else. Let's go. Keep asking me these questions.
I do have one more
Let
to
me
this
just
thing.
let me just tell you what I do hear about it is they are very strongly against pedophilia, and I agree with that. I mean, I do agree with that, and I agree
But
with
there's
it
not a
very strongly.
satanic pedophile
I have
cult
no
being run
idea.
by-
I know
You
nothing
don't know
about
that?
QAnon has been banned, I think, from Facebook, but they're the most conspiracy theorist people. They're considered to be as a threat, like the Proud Boys. And still, he praises them. They like me, so I support them. But they're saying a lot of conspiracy theories that harms people. Are you fucking kidding me? And then he lies another lie about COVID tests.
There's a little bit of I guess, confusion about this, and I think we can clear it up.
Yeah, and there shouldn't.
Your first positive test was Thursday, October 1st, okay? When was your last negative test? When did you last remember having a negative test?
Well, I test quite a bit, and I can tell you that before the debate, which I thought was a very good debate, and I felt fantastically. I had no problem before.
Did you test
It was
the day of the
afterwards.
debate?
I don't know. I don't even remember. I test all the time. But I can tell you this. After the debate, like I guess a day or so, I think it was Thursday evening, maybe even late Thursday evening, I tested positive. That's when I first found out.
Back to the debate, because the debate commission's rules, it was the honor system, would be that you would come with a negative test. You say you don't know if you got a test on the day of the
I
debate?
have no problem. Again, the doctors do it. I don't ask them. I test all the time, and they.
Did you take a test, though, on the day of the
You know, if
debate?
you ask the doctor, they'll give you a perfect answer. But
Yeah.
they take a test, and I leave, and I go about
So
my business.
did you take a test on the day of the debate, I guess is the bottom line.
Probably did, and I took a test the day before and the day before, and I was always in great shape. And I was in great shape for the debate, and it was only.
That was just a simple yes or no. Like a literally simple yes or no, and you didn't answer because you didn't fucking take a test. You know your kids, know your wife, and y'all keep walking around with no fucking mask on. And honestly, they should not even host this debate because of the simple fact that he did not accept the the virtual debate. But you have time to do this shit, and probably could affect Samantha. And now Samantha probably gonna have to self-quarantine because you around this germ-infested motherfucker who still has COVID, in my opinion. But there's something else about, I'm trying to find the one about COVID and it's not here. And I don't see it here. But I am going to revert back to Biden because he thinks that he did a good job with COVID. And we all know he did not do a good job with COVID-19. Versus the simple fact is he didn't. But I'm going to revert back to Vice President Biden's debate, town hall, it was very soothing. Some people said it was boring like Mr. Rogers, like Mercedes Schlapp, Matt Schlapp, wife. I guess Amnesty wife, whatever she is. So, yeah. but I ain't going to play the one about there's one about the economy. Here we go.
Well, by the way, that wasn't the context. They said what I like on the economy of science said so. I said I follow science. But I don't think there's a need to lock down.
But I want to press you on that point. Sure. You've been in the Oval Office for 8 years with President Obama. He would always say that only the hard to solve problems.
Yeah,
What is most likely to happen is the scientists will disagree. The scientists will disagree with the economists. So the question is, how are you going to decide this? Who are you going to listen to? And how can you contain the pandemic without crushing the economy?
Well, you can contain the pandemic by being rational and not crush the economy. For example, I laid out a plan how you can open businesses. You can open businesses and schools if, in fact, you provide them the guidance that they need as well as the money to be able to do it. What's happening now is we know, for example, if you can open a business and you could have a sign on the door saying safe to come in, that's why people aren't going anyway when they're open, and say because you have social distancing, you have plastic barriers, when you go to the cashier, you have separators between the booths, you don't have large crowds, you reduce the size, the number of people you can have in the restaurant, you make sure there's testing, that's a really critical piece that he didn't do, testing and tracing, and you make sure that people are equipped. Going to schools. You know, the government initially said they're going to provide masks for every student and every teacher. Then they said, no. FEMA said, the president or whomever said, no, that's not a national emergency. Not a national emergency. We need more teachers in our schools to be able to open smaller pods. We need ventilation systems changed. Well, there's a lot of things we know now. And I laid them out in some detail. Now, again, when I say I laid them out, I'm not an office holder. I'm running for office. It's not like I'm still vice president or I was a United States senator pushing this. So I don't want to say I. But we did lay out exactly what needed to be done. And take a look. We make up 4% of the world's population. We have 20% of the world's deaths. We're in a situation where we have 210 plus thousand people dead. And what's he doing? Nothing. He's still not wearing masks and so on.
Yeah, but he did a good job on COVID. That was Donald Trump. We all know that he did not. And Joe Biden, for the last 80 millionth time, Joe Biden offered his plan for COVID-19 to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump refused. Like, he literally sounded the alarm about COVID-19 in January. Deadass. And I think he also addressed the question about raising taxes.
$100,000 will not see.
But that's a little too lengthy. But overall, we clearly know who had the best town hall because this person has the best town halls ever. And it's Joe Biden. So y'all can watch the recap on YouTube because those debates are on YouTube, wherever you want to pick. I'm not telling you who to vote for, but all I know is I know who I'm voting for because clearly this country is in multiple crises. 5. A global pandemic resulting into a global recession. Climate change, which is an existential threat to our country, the world, and the planet. Racial reckoning. We're still dealing with systemic racism in all institutions. And now constitutional crisis, which in a constitutional crises, I should say that because it's 3. Donald Trump not accepting the results of the election if he loses. Putting ramming Amy Coney Barrett to that Senate seat with her originalism idea and ideals. And the fact is that there's no peaceful transfer of power. So that's all of that and some. Yeah. But speaking of the Coney Barrett hearings, there was some witnesses that testified. I can play one. It's really good. I think it came from Crystal good. She is a reproductive activist, and she did an amazing job. So I think I have a clip. Here it goes.
A writer poet, a small business owner, graduate student at West Virginia University, and an advocate for survivors of sexual abuse. I'm the daughter of a white mother and a black father, and I'm the proud mother of 3 brilliant children. These identities are all parts of me, but not all of me. Who I am today is only possible because at 16 years old, I had access to an abortion. As a minor in a state with a parental consent requirement, that access was dependent on a judge, because without a shadow of a doubt, I could not trust the adults closest to me. From the ages of 5 until I was 15, I was sexually abused by my white stepfather. He wasn't convicted until 2012, more than 30 years after the abuse began. When I told the grown folks in my life, they didn't believe me at first, and then refused to hold my abuse accountable once the truth was out. Later at 16, while in a relationship that brought me joy and made me feel safe, I, like 2.7 million Americans a year, had an unintended pregnancy. Immediately, I knew I wanted an abortion, a very safe medical procedure that 1 in 4 U.S. women will have in their lifetimes. For many reasons, including the decade of abuse she did not protect me from, I couldn't tell my mother. Instead, I sought a judicial bypass. Access to an abortion should not depend on our GPA, the color of our skin, where we live, or the luck of the draw. It should not depend in any shape, form, or fashion who your governor is or who is sitting on the Supreme Court. My entire childhood, every adult in my life had failed me. None of them deserved to make a decision about my body. The Supreme Court has made historic decisions that uphold our rights and freedoms. My right to an abortion, the integration of my public schools, the Affordable Health Care Act that ensures that I have health insurance, and workplace protections for my transgender daughter. President Trump has been clear that he would only appoint justices who would overturn Roe v. Wade. Unfortunately, through learning about Judge Barrett's record, I understand why the president believes she passes the test. Please listen to people who have had abortions. Hear us when we ask you, do not confirm this nominee. Our futures, our families, our lives depend on it. We too are America. Thank you.
So I just want to play back Amy Coney Barrett's responses because, like I said, it even gave my black ass some pause. Because I'm like, it was just simple yes or no question she could answer, and she refused to answer it. Because, and it was just like, what the fuck? Like, bitch, you couldn't answer those questions? So, let's just hear one of these questions.
And would not ever discriminate on the, and have never discriminated on the basis of sexual preference, and would not ever discriminate on the basis of sexual preference?
That was her LGBTQ, and she used sexual preference, which is sexual orientation. Sexual preference is not even on an application. Sexual orientation is actually on the end of disclaimer on like applications, because I worked in HR, and so it's under the equal opportunity law. We will not discriminate against your gender, your race, or sexual orientation. And sometimes when you identify your gender is, are you cis transgender or blah, 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 because it's affirmative action. They don't want to go down for the shit. I don't blame these companies or these organizations, because you can easily get fucking sued. And putting this bitch on the Supreme Court will roll back everything. Every fucking thing under the sun. Trying to look for another clip where she pretty much just is being a bitch the whole time.
Thank you.
You're an asset to the Senate.
I appreciate that.
No, that's not the one.
is infectious?
I think, yes, I do accept that COVID-19 is infectious. That's something of which I feel like, we could say you take judicial notice of. It's an obvious fact, yes.
Do you accept that smoking causes cancer?
I'm not sure exactly where you're going with this, but, the notice that smoking causes...
The question is what it is. You can answer it if you believe. Yes or no?
Senator Harris, yes, every package of cigarettes warns that smoking causes cancer.
And do you believe that climate change is happening and it's threatening the air we breathe and the water we drink?
Senator, again, I was wondering where you were going with that. You have asked me a series of questions that are completely uncontroversial, like whether COVID-19 is infectious, whether smoking causes cancer, and then trying to analogize that to eliciting an opinion on me that is a very contentious matter, opinion from me that is on a very contentious matter of public debate, and I will not do that. I will not express a view on a matter of public policy, especially one that is politically controversial, because that's inconsistent with the judicial.
And then there's also abortion. Just want to get the abortion one because that's one of the main ones that alarmed me. So try and find the clip.
Here's another one. Do you believe that every president should make a commitment unequivocally and resolutely to the peaceful transfer of power?
Said that he would not, and I don't want to express a view on...
Judge, I appreciate what you've said about respecting our founding fathers. Swear and commit themselves like our...
That's not the clip.
Harry is sitting right over there.
You don't...
treatment, and I'm not going to ask again, just this last time, criminalizing it.
Well,
would it be constitutional? I think there's a clear answer.
But Senator, I've repeatedly said, as has every other nominee who sat in this seat, that we can't answer questions in the abstract. That would have to be decided in the course of the judicial process. With a case, some legislature would actually have to do that. And then litigants would have to come to court. There would have to be briefs and arguments and consultation with colleagues and opinion writing and consideration of precedent. So an off-the-cuff reaction to that would just circumvent the judicial process.
Well, again, I'm disappointed. I think Tracy would find that response somewhat chilling because she and thousands, maybe millions of women, potential parents, would be horrified to think that IVF treatment could be made criminal. And
he's right about that. 100% right about that. So pretty much, she's not for people. She's an originalist. She's not for black people. And I don't even know why she even called herself an originalist, because women is still not in the Constitution. All men created equal. That mostly applied to white men, not black people. No, not women, not black people, not brown people, not gay people. No. So this nomination is no. And I'm just going to, because I already expressed my feelings and I have watched the hearings for the last 3 days. Shit made me tired. So, no. So, last covering. So, I watched Roland Martin Unfiltered. I suggest that you subscribe or donate to watch him. He's really good. I really like Roland. I respect Roland as a journalist, and he's a true journalist because he's not beholden to no political party. And so he interviewed Ice Cube, and it was a very interesting interview with Mr. Cube. And let's just say that Ice Cube wasn't ready for prime time. Like, not at all. Because if he was ready for prime time, he would have been prepared for what Roland was bringing him. Okay? So here is a piece of the video.
You got, if I'm looking at it, agreeing to direct VC money to black investment companies up to $40 billion.
See, a lot of people have been talking about this $500 billion. That's not going to black people. In fact, that's just actually the infrastructure funding program. That's not actually $500 billion going to black people. And then when they say,
so Ice Cube's contract with Black America plan, I read it. It's more of a male supremacist, misogynistic plan that's supposed to cater to black male. But it has it's more economic and even not fully. Like, that plan wouldn't even get through Congress on both sides. Not at all. Excuse me. Democrats wouldn't go for it, and Republicans sure will be looking at that shit like, toss that shit in the garbage can before it even hits the voting floor. So Ice Cube looked like he just was at home and made shit up out of his ass from that contract with Black America plan. I keep fucking it up because I really don't give a shit about it. Because like I said, he could flush that shit down the toilet, as I said. But he was not prepared. And Alicia Garza came on and basically said, I try to get my plan to both campaigns. But the difference is her plan is actually more concrete, and it includes all black people of all different monoliths, pretty much, if that's the term. I mean, we're all different views, not monolith, use the wrong term, but different views. Better than, hey Derek, better than Ice Cube's fucking tinfoil plan with the other tinfoil plan. That's why it's important to read, because when I read Every Voice, Lift Every Voice, and I was reading the women agenda, Biden's plans are so cohesive and so detailed. It's like you have to write down stuff, take notes, because those plans are so detailed. And you could tell he derived plans from Kamala, Bernie, Liz, Pete. He took all their plans and put it together. That's what he did. And with his own shit, too. Because he did serve in the Obama and Biden, well, he was part of that administration because he was in an executive branch with the former president, the first African-American president. So, and some of the plans he was discussing was from the Obama era, which helped people. talking about when President Obama didn't do nothing for black people. It's bullshit. But one thing Roland is right about, Democrats got to do better on messaging. Like, we know how to govern. We know what to do. Our plans will help better the country. But you have to work on messaging. And that's something that the Republicans have advantage over the Democrats. That's how they're able to gain leadership and hold on a strong, tight hold to their leadership and to sometimes their constituency because of their messaging. We have the juices, we have the goods, Democrats, but we can't not show up with a butter knife to a gunfight. And that's why some of these black guys feel like the Democratic Party is not helping them. And plus, they don't really like immigrants either, half of these black guys. Because I'll be talking to someone like, listen, the immigrants is the one that clean stores up and everything, the jobs that your fucking asses don't want to take, okay? But I'm just gonna pull up a little bit of this contract with Black America because I honestly feel like it's bullshit. That's for starters. It's not real, in my opinion. And I just feel like it's just fucking stupid. So here's some of it. I'm not going to pull up the whole thing because I think, like I said, it's 22 pages, but it means nothing, in my opinion. And that's just how I feel. So he has this thing, prison reform. And I'm just going to read it. And you tell me if it's the same as what you read before. Privately run prisons will be abolished. Prison labor disallowed without consent, and nonviolent offenders incarcerated for 10 years or longer will be freed if good behavior standards met. Sounds like something I read before. All prisoners for marijuana possessions freed. First offense for illegal drugs or use of possession to require government payment for entry into a approved drug rehabilitation program rather than imprisonment. Some states kind of like refer them to a drug rehabilitation program. Free services. And some of his bills sound like the crime bill. Once any person completes a sentence, voting rights are restored. Some states gave felons the right to vote. Some have signed orders, executive orders. Some of it is on a proposal on the voting ballot. And I think it was passed already to restore felon rights. So this contract with America it's not really progressive enough when there's certain states already taking those stance. And the Justice and Policing Act with the prison reform, that's on Mitch McConnell's desk. Democrats and CBC did that, mostly the CBC. And Kamala Harris is signatured on that. So Ice Cube's whole contract with Black America, like I said, it doesn't include black women. And it doesn't include the LGBTQ. And it's bullshit. Those gonna get mad at me. I could really give two fucks because it is what it is. That's why it's important to read. Because reading is what? Fundamental. And that's that. But I've been here on a little long enough. So this is exactly why it's important to educate yourself, to read and to understand who you're voting for. I don't care who you vote for. I want you to vote. However, if you're undecided, then you're pretty fucking crazy at this point. But read on candidates before you make a decision. Or that's if you're undecided, which I don't understand why. But read on your candidates. Just read. Yeah, and if it wasn't so fucking militant, it would have been fucking better. You're absolutely right, Derek. But that whole plan, honestly, needs to be tossed in the garbage and be rewritten, because it's like so out there that it won't even get passed. And yes, I will be patient with Dems. And he should be patient with the Democrats. Because Joe Biden's plan is actually more cohesive. Some of the things he wants, I think you want to talk to Joe Biden more than you want to talk to Donald Trump, because Donald Trump's plan is only one page versus Joe Biden's plans is like a whole 22 pages. His 90,000 plans, which will help America. But I will end this and tell you all good night. And for those who are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can subscribe. It's on my Twitter page. And for those who don't follow me on Twitter, my Twitter name is called I Am Shantizi. So until then, you have a wonderful night. See you tomorrow.